Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadari Jaya Vallabha Girivadadari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51, entitled The Deliverance of Muchukunda, text 13. Shri Rajovacha. I'll read the word to word translation. The king, okay, it's come. Konam sapuman brahman kasya kim virya evacha kasmad guham gata shishye kim tejo yavanardanaha. Shri Rajovacha. Konam sah puman brahman kasya kim virya evacha kasmad guham gata shishye kim tejo yavanardanaha. Shri Rajovacha. Konam sapuman brahman kasya kim virya evacha kasmad guham gata shishye kim tejo yavanardanaha. Shri Rajovacha. Sapuma kim virya evacha kasmat guham gata shishye tejo yavanardanaha. Anyone else? श्रीराजोवाच को नाम स पुमान् ब्रह्मन् वीर्य एव च गुहां गतः शिष्ये तेजो यवनार्दनः राजोवाच नाम स पुमान् ब्रह्मन् किं वीर एव च Shri Raja Uvacha. The king Parikshit said, Kaha, who, Naam, in particular, Saha, that, Puman, person, Brahman, O Brahmana Shukdev, Kasya, of which family, Kim, having what, Viryaha, powers, Evacha, as also, Kasmat, why, Guham, in the cave, Gataha, having gone, Shishye, lay down to sleep, Kim, whose, Tejaha, semen, offspring, Yavana, of the Yavan, Ardanaha, the destroyer. Translation by the followers of Srila Prabhupada. There's no purport here. King Parikshit said, who was that person, O Brahmana? To which family did he belong? And what were his powers? Why did that destroyer of the barbarian lie down to sleep in the cave? And whose son was he? We can mute him or whatever. Okay, I can do that also. Or you do that. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'm grateful to be here with all of you today. And here we're discussing the 10th canto, Krishna's adventures in Dwarka. So the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto broadly can be divided into 3 sections. There are the 90 chapters in the 10th canto. The first 40 are approximately in Vraja. Actually, the 40th chapter, the Akrura's prayer, so he leaves from there. The next 10 are more or less Krishna in Mathura. And the last are with Krishna in Dwarka. It's more like Krishna is based in Dwarka. So, like Krishna has become a traveling preacher now. So he's traveling all over the places. He's like more like an international. He's leader of a state, but he is like a state leader who has global influence, and that state leader is constantly going on international tours. So most of the pastimes that happen in the last 40 chapters, very few of them are actually in Dwarka. Maybe less than 10 chapters are actually in Dwarka, and remaining are with Krishna going at various places. So this is one such pastime where Krishna is going from Dwarka elsewhere. So the backstory is that when Krishna comes to Dwarka, he is expected that Dwarka should be a peaceful and safe place. In fact, that's one of the reasons why he shifts from Mathura to Dwarka. But then, even in Dwarka also, there are dangers. And in this particular place, there is a danger of a Kala Yavan. This is a very powerful warrior, king, invader, with a huge army. He comes to attack Krishna. And Krishna uses, at many different times, different strategies to deal with his enemies. So confrontation is just one of the strategies. And while the 10th canto is describing incidents that happened when Krishna descended to the world, it is through those incidents Krishna is also demonstrating how he functions. So when we hear Krishna Leela, there are many things that can come from the hearing of Krishna Leela. One is, at one level, there can be simply entertainment. They are very, at least when you hear them for the first time, they are very entertaining. But there can also be enlightenment that can come. And that enlightenment is not just about Krishna is the ultimate reality. Krishna is not just some character in some story. He is a supreme personality. But Krishna is also the ultimate benefactor. He is not just a passive reality who exists up there as the biggest reality. He is also working for the benefit of everyone. And when he is working for the benefit of others, sometimes his plans are direct. He directly intervenes to protect. But there are many times when he works in indirect ways. That Krishna's plan is not straightforward, that there is a danger, and immediately he intervenes and he protects amid that danger. He can do that, and he does do that at some times. But many times Krishna works in ways that seem to be counterintuitive. And this is where actually faith is required. No. So normally speaking, if I'm sick and I take a medicine, and immediately I get cured, then that doesn't really require much faith. Of course, I need some faith to take the medicine also. But soon after I take the medicine, I get relief. But suppose I take a medicine and I don't experience any relief. Or worse still, I experience aggravation of the symptoms after I take the medicine. Then that's when faith is required. It's a time when the medicine doesn't seem to be working. So, do I have the faith that it is going to work? And then we persist through the phase when it doesn't seem to be working. So similarly, that is the test of our faith also. That when we pray to Krishna and Krishna immediately intervenes and protects, that's a very straightforward vindication of our faith. But when Krishna doesn't seem to be intervening to do anything, or what is happening, what ostensibly Krishna is doing seems to be the opposite. So here, the point is Krishna has multiple ways of functioning. So Kala Yavan has come to attack, and Krishna, instead of fighting, is actually running away from Kala Yavan. Now, in many ways here, Kalyavan seems to be more honorable than Krishna. Just look at it straightforward. That Krishna is running away and Kalyavan follows him. Krishna has an entire army. Krishna comes practically without any army. And Kalyavan decides that, if he is coming alone, I'll also follow him alone. I'll chase him alone. He has his army, and his army is there behind him. He says, I'll fight him. So here is Krishna, the Supreme Lord, apparently running away from battlefield. And there is Kalyavan who is chasing him. So, what is Krishna doing? Krishna can seem that. Is he protecting or is he himself running away? Now, of course, you could say it's a decoy that Krishna is taking the invader away from the place where his devotees are, where the Dwarkavasis are, and that way they are at least safe. That's true to some extent, no doubt. But Krishna is later on. As we will see, he goes into a cave and disappears in the cave. And when he disappears in the cave, Kalyavan comes in over there. And he sees somebody who's sleeping there, he kicks that person. Think this is Krishna? He's angry. He says, first of all, this person ran away, and now this person, instead of fighting with me, is sleeping. He thinks it's Krishna. So out of contempt, he kicks Krishna. He thinks he's kicking Krishna, but that person just wakes up, opens his eyes, and Kalyavan is just burned instantly. What happened? So, in many ways, Parikshit Maharaj is playing the role of a hearer over here. So he's asking questions. Who is this person? Kasyava, who is this person? Now, normally, we would ask, who is this person? But if somebody is very powerful, then we ask, where did the power come from? Kasya Virya. Was this a power that ran in the family? Whose son was he? So it's like in a movie, suddenly some character comes in, and the character has extraordinary powers. And that character does what the hero should be doing. And is this the hero's friend? Is this what is going on over here? That's the kind of question that are being asked. Now, this chapter is entitled as the deliverance of Muchukunda. So Krishna is, at one level, he uses Muchukunda to get rid of the danger to Dwarka, to get rid of the demon. And then in that process, he delivers Muchukunda also. So Krishna's plan, it often works from a far bigger perspective. And in many ways, faith actually requires us to broaden our perspective. See, whenever any event happens, if any particular event happens, we put it in some context. So, for example, if I feel cold right now, and I might put it in the context, is there some door or window open over here? Or is it that maybe I'm not wearing warm clothes? Or is it that I've got a fever? Or is it that the weather of this place is just not suitable for me? So, now each of these would lead to different courses of action. The first I say is that, okay, it's cold. Can you please close the door or window? Can you check if anything is open? Can I have a shawl or something? Or maybe I okay. Maybe I can. Maybe I need some medicine. Maybe I have to plan that I won't visit this part of the world in this season. I have to come outside some other time. So the same incident, same event can be interpreted in many different ways. Or rather, the action that we want to do can be based on, so I could put it in a smaller context, I could put it in a bigger context. It could go into the biggest context also. So the same incident can be placed in many different contexts. So what happens is, when we say that, hey, I prayed to Krishna and Krishna didn't protect me. So what are we doing? We are putting it in a particular context. Okay, this incident happened and this is what happened after that. Where is Krishna's protection? So, unless there is some knowledge, without knowledge, faith is not possible. Now, I'll talk about the relationship between knowledge and faith a little bit more. But here by knowledge, I primarily mean broadening our perspective. Unless our perspective, we can see things from a bigger perspective, it is very difficult to have faith. Because if you are seeing from this perspective, okay, A led to B, but B is not a solution to A. And I had prayed at time A. So often, when we are trying to practice bhakti, if you consider Srila Prabhupada's life, Srila Prabhupada was trying again and again and again to spread Krishna bhakti in India. And it was just not working. If you consider, say, whatever, this is not exactly a map of India, but assume it is. But say, if you consider this to map of India, Prabhupada was in Kolkata. Now, Mumbai is on the other side of the country. And Prayag is somewhere here. Now, in the 1920s and 30s, people would not move so much. So Prabhupada relocated his business from one part of the country to the opposite side of the country. And then he went to a third corner of the country. So and it was not just Prabhupada himself went for a job. Prabhupada relocated his entire business, relocated his entire family. And why was he doing this? Because he wanted, through his business, to support his spiritual master and his mission. And somehow it was not working. So it was a huge effort. Each time something would go wrong. Each time something or the other. Just sometime there's a fire that broke out. Sometime just the place was not right. There was too much competition. Another time, one of his servants betrayed him and robbed his money. Various things happened like that. And his business just didn't succeed. And it can be very disheartening, demoralizing. He was trying to do, he wanted to use it for spiritual success, but even materially there was struggle. Spiritually, he could not make much of a contribution. And materially, also, he was not really able to support his family very well. He supported it, of course, but so you see, what is happening over here? So where is Krishna? So one of my friends told me that he is trying to, he did some research about 1920s, 1930s time, and to whatever extent we have information available about Prabhupada. So one thing about Prabhupada was that the Prabhupada, although he had a business background, he was, after he met a spiritual master, primarily was a preacher. So Krishna had a different plan for him. So when his business didn't work, he could have said, Krishna, I am doing this for you. Why is this not working? See, and then, instead of losing faith, Prabhupada kept, okay, what does Krishna want me to do? Prabhupada kept trying different things. 1, 2, 3, 4. So many different things Prabhupada tried. And finally, he concluded that, Yasyaham anugrahanami harishye tadhanam shanai. That Krishna wants me to be utterly dependent on him. Krishna wants me to directly share his message. And so in general, if we consider failure, for most people, it leads to loss or decrease of faith. And success leads to growth of faith, building of faith. If I do something, and it works out. If I pray to God and it works out, then that's the strength of faith. But the other way, it goes off. So for us, if we face repeated failure in our endeavors, and it just, what am I doing? Is this the right thing to do? Does Krishna even exist? Does Krishna care? I mean, except that he exists. Does he even care? Does Krishna want me to serve at all? It's very easy to find, even within the philosophy, justification for whatever we want to do. So Prabhupada could have said, my Guru Maharaj just told me that. Bhaktivedanta Thakur used to say that, if no one comes, then preach to the walls. Now Prabhupada could have stayed in Vrindavan and just been preaching to the walls. Now preach to the walls does not mean literally keep preaching to the walls. It means don't lose your spirit of sharing Krishna Bhakti. And that's what Prabhupada did. He never lost his spirit. But Prabhupada was also vigorous. His vigor was that if this doesn't work out, let me try that, let me try that, let me try that. So it's very important when Prabhupada came to America. He just didn't know. Ache kichu karya tabe ei anumane. My dear Lord, you must have some purpose for me. Otherwise, why would you bring me here? Nahi keno ani bena ei ugrasthane. So Prabhupada didn't know that the word anuman over there, it's an interesting word. Anumane. Now, anuman we often associate with the word anuman pramana. That is speculation. But anuman in a negative sense could mean speculation. But in a positive sense, it is an inference. Inference, Krishna, you must have some purpose. It's more like an educated guess. So, in many situations, faith is about making inferences. That we can say that faith is certainty. I know Krishna will protect me. Okay, that may be true. While faith involves a dimension of certainty, Krishna will protect me. But there is also a certain level of uncertainty in faith. How exactly is Krishna going to protect me? If I am trying to serve, now how exactly does Krishna want me to serve him? I can have certainty that Krishna wants me to serve him. So faith is always this dynamic tension of certainty and uncertainty. If there is only certainty without any uncertainty, that can go down towards irrationality. That's where it can go down to fanaticism. So where if a person, so often we think about, in Sanskrit there are two words, like many times, especially in India, people say, I have a doubt after a class. But actually, there is a difference between a doubt and a question. The Sanskrit word for doubt is samshaya. The Sanskrit word for question is prashna. And the two are not the same. So, the word doubt often has a negative connotation, at least within the tradition. Samshayatma vinashyati. A person who is a doubter always will perish. I was talking with a devotee. He said that when he grew up, he didn't grow up in a devotee family, but his father was a pious person. So he said, whenever I would question my father's instructions, my father would quote this Gita word, Samshayatma vinashyati. That the doubting soul will perish. Now, that doesn't mean that a child should not question what the parent is telling. That's not exactly the right context to use that verse in. But the point is that there will always be a certain scope, certain level of uncertainty. And that uncertainty does not have to be seen as a doubt. It's a question. Okay, how does Krishna want me to serve? So when Anumane, Prabhupada is saying that Achi kichu karya tabe, I'm sure you must have some purpose for me. So there is a certain level of guessing, which you can say uncertainty, but an uncertainty, it's not a doubt. Prabhupada, if you look at the whole Markine Bhagavad Dharma, is convinced. Tomara ichhaye sab hoye maya ravash. Tomara ichhaye nasha maya raparash. My dear Lord, you are the supreme controller. It is by your arrangement, it is within your jurisdiction that people have come under Maya. It is within your jurisdiction that people will come out of Maya. So, Prabhupada's conviction in Krishna was never questioned, under question. But at the same time, okay, how does Krishna want me to serve him? That can always be a question in a devotee's life. And sometimes if there is no question like that, sometimes a person may keep doing the same service again and again and again. And it's good to be consistent in one service. But as devotees, we want to make the best offering to Krishna. And if a particular service is not leading to the desired result, to the intended result, then it's worth asking, maybe I should be doing something else. If we are in a particular place trying to, say, build a temple, and people are not coming there at all, then how long should a person just keep being there? Maybe go somewhere else. So, faith is not about a certainty that goes towards irrationality, a certainty that leads to a denial of reality. There is uncertainty, it is more in the mode of questioning. Questions. Krishna, how do you want me to serve you? What exactly is your plan for me? Now we may say, can the Lord's plan be known? Well, the Bhagavatam is quite frequent in saying that Bhishma tells Yudhishthira Maharaj that the Lord's plan is very difficult to know. But then there is again a dynamic over there. He says that Tasyanu Rajan, that everything is within the plan of the Lord. And then he says that Anatha Pahi Anatha Prabho, that there are people who are anath over here, people who have become desolate, they have become orphans, and they need your protection. So now the war has happened. The war has been catastrophic. This we are talking about the Kurukshetra war. Bhishma is speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. But what Bhishma tells Yudhishthira Maharaj is that now that the war has happened, rather than worrying or lamenting, why did this war happen? That was it all for my greed to make me into a king? He says that's the remorse that Yudhishthira is having. Yudhishthira's remorse, if we look at the Mahabharata, the burden of guilt that he feels, it's for multiple reasons. It is, for Yudhishthira, if we look at it, just the sheer volume of violence. Sees how many people have been killed. But then, it's not only that, after that, there was the death of Abhimanyu. He felt personally responsible because Abhimanyu had been sent to Chakravyuh to protect Yudhishthira, who was the target of Chakravyuh. Then the death of all other sons. They were killed by Ashwatthama. And then after that was Karna. Now it was when Kunti told that Karna was actually your brother. Then Yudhishthira just was shattered. So I fought all this war. I had sleepless nights thinking about how I will kill Karna. And on top of that, when he came to know that Karna had an opportunity to kill him twice. And Karna didn't kill me because he knew I was his brother. And yet, I longed for his death and I celebrated his death. It just broke him completely. He says, what kind of person am I? How can I become a king when I celebrated my brother's death? I caused the death of my own sons. What kind of protector can I be? So it's not only that his other sons were killed. It's more like when the Pandavas went and the idea was when you win in a battle, you sleep on the battlefield. That's more a sign of victory. It's more like a sign of celebration. So he says, we were celebrating victory, and at that time, our army, including our children, were being killed. So it's like, say, if some loved one is in trouble, if somebody is in an accident, and then they are dying, we are by their side, we at least have some solace. But they had an accident and we were partying at that time. And we didn't even come to know. That is even more morale crushing. So this is what happened to Yudhishthira. And yet what happened was, Bhishma is telling him all this is a part of the plan of the Lord. It's exactly how the Lord's plan works. It's very difficult to know. But if you play your part in the plan. So it's like here, I'll conclude with this point. Say, if we are here, there is the past and there is the future. Now, the past, so in general, there is always this question, when some action is being done, was it because of my mistakes or was it the Lord's plan? How much should I take responsibility for this? And how much should I accept it as a part of the plan of the Lord? So quite often what happens is that we think, the mind goes in different ways, but one way the mind goes, especially this is, all the past was, it was my fault. It is my fault. And because if I see the past as my fault, then that can demoralize me. Then maybe I am just unworthy, maybe I'm flawed. I'm worthless. So now what Bhishma tells him, the past is a divine plan. So now the divine plan is there in the past, the divine plan is there in the present, the divine plan will be there in the future. So now the future, there is also a divine plan. Now our part in the divine plan. What is our part in the divine plan? He says, now there is a need over here. You take care of that need. As a warrior, as a king, this is what you need to do. This is what you do. And what about the past? Sometimes it may be because of our mistakes. Well, Krishna is expert enough to even continue his plan through our mistakes. And that's why we needn't fixate too much on our mistakes. Yes, we have made mistakes, doesn't matter. We learn from them, we grow from them. But you don't think that because of my mistake, now everything is doomed. No mistake is so big that it throws us out of Krishna's plan. Or it throws Krishna's plan in disarray. Krishna's plan keeps working. When we are driving, we often use this GPS. So, if say we are driving and the GPS tells us turn left and we turn right. What does GPS say? Get lost? You didn't obey me? You're doomed now. No. GPS doesn't do that. What does GPS do? It immediately reroutes and tells us, okay, now you have to go this way, this way. Now every wrong turn has consequences. It will take us more time, maybe we have to spend more fuel, but there is always a path ahead. So GPS is also God's positioning system. And within God's position system, whatever wrong turns we have taken, God can always reroute and get us on the right track. So this, when things seem to be going wrong, when either we have made a mistake or we seem to have done the right thing, but Krishna doesn't seem to be reciprocating, as was happening in the case of Muchukund in this particular pastime. Krishna seems to be running away from the enemy. There is, whatever is happening is within the plan of the Lord. So if we can just, the conclusion that Bhishma tells Yudhishthira is, you do your part now. What is the service that we can do right now? We do that and we see what doors open. Prabhupada focused on just whoever persons came to meet him, even they seem to be drug-addled hippies, he gave them his full attention. And then Krishna sent more worthy candidates. And eventually, Krishna's plan manifested in is full glory, where he was able to have thousands and thousands of disciples and millions of people inspired. 108 temples. Prabhupada eventually said that, although he had said that, I see temples, I see it filled with people. Prabhupada said, what I achieved exceeded even my own expectations. So Krishna's plan is in that way wonderful. So I'll summarize quickly what I discussed with 3 main points. First is that faith is often needed when things don't seem to work. Things don't go along expected lines. That's when faith is needed. Then I talked about faith has these 2 components of certainty and uncertainty. Certainty that Krishna's plan is operational, but uncertainty, okay, how exactly is Krishna's plan operating? And what does Krishna want me to do? So within that, the way to look at it is that whatever has happened in the past, whether my mistakes or not, Krishna's plan has been there, always operating. And for the future, we see, just ask the question, how can I serve? Whatever opening is coming right now, we take that opening and we move forward, and we will find that Krishna will take us to a better place eventually. Thank you very much. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Jai Gaur Premanande.
Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Govinda Gopinatha Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Keshi Gata Vamsi Vata Dwadasha Shakana Jasa Balila Koilo Sri Nanda